A new children's book about a magical person who came from a mine but now scares children to sleep has been published. It's called The Epic Adventures of Mr. FlannelFoot, and this particular book is called Smelly Feet. It's been written by Foz Foster, who lives near the site of the Great Works mine in West Cornwall, and illustrated by his neighbour, Vic Gandy. And they're both with me in the studio. Evening to you both.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening. Now, that little introduction is a character who scares children to sleep. Perfect bedtime reading. But the idea for this story, Foz, came from when you were a child, didn't it?
Absolutely. It was my grandmother, and we lived at Stairfoot near Truro, on the other side of Truro near Trispan. And we were, unruly kids, and she would tell us that FlannelFoot would come and visit us if we didn't go to sleep. And I thought every kid was told that story. So it's been with me all this time. And then we finally got it together, and now it's out in a book. And
FlannelFoot is this character that, who has his feet covered in flannels because he has to walk silently around houses.
Exactly.
So hence the name, in case people were wondering why. Yes.
Right. Well, so the story progresses over the 6 books, but he puts flannels on his feet from being down in the mine. But it works out now that he can creep around the houses without being heard, and that's kind of the bit that's kind of a bit scary about the character, I guess. And this is a story that you remembered from your childhood, and I know a lot of our childhood memories are kind of a bit vague, aren't they? But when you were told it, did it scare you at the time? Well, we've had to tone it right down, but we were actually terrified because we had these old cast iron beds, and you could get under them, and we would be so. My grandma's, she was old school. We would be so scared we'd hide under the bed, but we didn't move from under the bed, and we eventually fell asleep. But we've really toned it down now to make it not scary. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he just waits there until they go to sleep.
So how does it go from you? Did you always have in your mind, all the way along, that you wanted to do something with this story? But I suppose it was just getting round to writing it.
Yes, it's been in my mind ever since. It's like things in life, you kind of remember stories that you're told when you're very young, and I thought it would make such a great story. And when I met Vicky at the fence, we were working on a fence together.
Oh, really? Just a casual meeting of neighbours at the fence?
Yeah, we were repairing the fence, and I said, and Vicky told me that she was going to Falmouth Art College, and I said, I've got this character and this story. And I told Vicky, and she said, let me draw him. And then she came to me next day or 2 days later, and I said, that's him.
And am I right in thinking it was you just your first drawing of this character? It hasn't been changed at all. It was exactly as Foz imagined.
Yeah, no, it was when he described it to me at the fence, I got a really clear image in my head as to what I thought he should look like. But funny enough, neither of us actually discussed the colour of his skin. It just happened to come out like a purpley grey colour, and he said that's exactly how I saw him. So there's been a few tweaks here and there, but the basics of the character is the same as what I drew the first drawing.
And when Foz was telling you that, I'm going to write this book, I've got this character, and a little bit about what he's like, did you kind of think, this is he's a little bit creepy, this character?
I like a bit of alternative. I liked that it was a bit different. I think children's stories tend to be quite fluffy, and actually stories that I grew up with, like Roald Dahl, involved a lot of eating children and stuff like that. They weren't as tame as some of them are now. So I think our stories were really scary when we were younger.
Actually, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yes.
Or witches, Roald Dahl.
We had to stop reading the witches at one point when one of the Billy turned into a mouse or something for a while, and then we picked it back up again. That's right. Yeah. Actually, he's very dark, Roald Dahl.
Yeah, so I do quite like things that are a little bit alternative and a bit different, and I did warn Ian that my illustration style is a little bit different, and he's like, no, I want him to be like that. I want an alternative character. We want something different that's not already on the market.
I mean, what are the chances, though? It's a bit like fate, isn't it? Bringing you both together. You'd never have known each other if you weren't neighbours. You're both living near the site of an old mine as well. There's that connection with this character. Chance conversation, and there we are. You've got an illustrator living next door. That's pretty
and it was
special.
Weird as well, because I work, Ian works, and the only reason we were at the fence was because it was lockdown and we were at home. And Ian decided this was a great time to rip down the fence and build a new one. So that's the only reason we were there at that time anyway.
So it's really, what a coincidence, isn't it? And a very happy coincidence. And have you kind of done book illustrations or anything before then?
This is my first book illustration. I started my master's degree in illustration just as the lockdown began. And of course, then I had 2 children at home trying to do my degree while they were stealing my iPad and my iMac at the same time. So I spent a lot of the time out in the garden, which was where Ian was with his fence. So we did a lot of talking then, but it's my first book illustration.
Wow, how exciting for you then. Yeah. And what's it like to see it? I've got a copy of the book here in front of me. What's it like to see it? Is it really exciting?
Such an amazing feeling. We still can't believe we were marvelling that we could see you reading it, and it was exciting that we could see someone reading it, but it's still amazing to see it in print, see all the colours, and you can only imagine what it's going to look like from drawing yourself. So it's incredible to see it in print.
And it's a lovely book as well, because sometimes books don't do the pictures justice, do they? But I think it's just really striking. And he has got. Let's just describe. How would you describe Mr. FlannelFoot? He's quite square-jawed, isn't he?
Yeah, well, there's actually a funny story about that, is that when Ian described him to me, he described an angled chin.
Okay.
And I immediately thought square angle, but he actually meant pointy, like an angle, a 90-degree angle, like a triangle is what he had in mind. But when he saw it, he was like, actually, that's better. And I drew it with a triangle chin as well, and he was like, no, it's got to be square.
It looks more friendly.
He does, yeah. And he's got piercing green eyes, and that's perfect for seeing in the dark, apparently, isn't it? And he's wearing a trilby, and it's not odd at all. But Foz has brought in an actual doll of FlannelFoot, haven't you?
Creepy,
so this is our doll. We actually have 2, and we just
the other one's creepier.
We're really selling this now, aren't we?
we take him and we do pictures in areas on our Facebook and our Instagram, and he's our kind of our model. But he's there's the other one's a bit taller, not quite as scary as this one, but he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He really wants to wait there and help the children go to sleep, and a relationship develops between one of the characters in the book and him, and so over this there's going to be 6 books, collectibles, and you'll soon get to know that he's kind of a friend, although he starts off as a character that is kind of a little bit sinister, but he really isn't. He's kind of friendly.
He thinks his job is to help the children.
Yeah, and he doesn't really know why he's there, because he works down in the mine originally. He gets zapped away, and then he's summoned by the parents, who say his name twice into reflection, and then he appears. The parents don't really believe in him. No one really does. But he then waits until he falls asleep and he goes back to his world. And when he does, he takes with him a brightly coloured sock that he steals from one of the kids in the room.
And he's got, this book, Smelly Feet, whenever he's around in this, without giving too much away, there's a bit of a cheesy pong around, isn't it?
Yes.
I think I illustrated the cheesy smell. There's a page that you can almost smell.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone they can't see him, they can't hear him, but they can smell this cheesy feet smell. And that's how they know, they kind of know something's there. But yeah, his feet are pretty rancid. And
I say he kind of lurks in the shadows a little bit as well. Were you aware when you were writing this and you were doing the illustrations that, the idea of it might be a little bit unappealing for kind of some children? There are children that go through kind of stages, don't they, of having trouble sleeping and things. Were you kind of aware of that? But, as you were saying about the Roald Dahl and things, they're used to it, but there's that thought, isn't there, that there might be someone lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, we thought about that, and we thought, well, what should we do? Should we? And we said, let's let the children's imagination, run riot with this. And because he doesn't really do anything to them, he just waits. He doesn't hurt anybody. He doesn't want to do anything bad. The children kind of, I think it will help them become less scared of the dark. Hopefully that's what it's going to do. And also, it's quite funny there's lots of funny bits in it.
So when the mum's doing the laundry and then there's odd socks, I mean, tell me about the amount of odd socks. You've probably, the amount of odd socks I've got at home. I know now who's responsible for those odd socks.
Yeah, and yeah, well, we're hoping that one day somebody will say, Mr. Flannelfoot's taken my sock.
And it came out just at the end of last year. Was it a very exciting time for both of you?
It was very, very exciting and also nerve-wracking because you want everyone to love it and you want great things. And so we were fortunate the Christmas rush happened, and we've handled our social media really well. And it's lots of people have come to me and said, "Oh, I've always wanted to do this," and to have done it is, I feel very proud actually. And fortunate to be able to have done it.
I'm sure, yes. Do you feel the same as well?
Yeah,
Vic,
yeah. It's amazing. And I think what we achieved, especially living next door to each other, meaning that I'm working with a local author, for me, that's incredible. And he's working with me, and it means that we can talk to each other and we shout things at each other over the fence, and we give each other ideas and we bounce ideas off each other. And our headquarters is the caravan on Ian's driveway. So we sit in there and shout things at each other as well, and it's just so amazing to be able to work together with somebody so nearby. And
also, as I said, this is the first of one of six, isn't it? So you've probably got quite a long way to go with that. But one of the things that you are wanting to do is to kind of visit primary schools, isn't it, in Cornwall to introduce them to Mr. Flannelfoot.
Yeah, so we've got 3 lined up already, and if anyone's listening from any school and they would like us to come, we'll be happy to go to any school in Cornwall, and we're going to donate a book to the school library of that school. And we've also got some props and to make it really interesting, and also some printouts for after the talk activities. So we're really excited about that. So yeah, if anyone's listening and want us to come by, we'd be happy to come by.
We'll give out your contact details in a moment, because I noticed at the end of the book you've got a kind of a quiz, haven't you, as well, which is really handy to see whether children are paying attention to books.
The parents.
And actually, they I know with mine actually, they do like the quizzes at the end because they like to think that they have learnt a lot about it as well.
And the colouring pages are online, so you can print them out, so you don't have to draw over your book that you've got. You can print them out on our website and colour in the pages as well.
Oh, it's really exciting. Can I just mention, so when you one of you dropped in a copy of the book for me, it was you, Foz, and it arrived, and I wasn't at work, but there was a little bit of there were a few people going, you had a parcel delivered earlier, and it's really interesting. And basically, it was you, Vic, wasn't it? You'd wrapped up the book in some brown paper, but made to look very old, with string and Mr. Flannelfoot's stamp, and inside there was a sock and everything, just beautifully packaged. It caused quite a stir, I have to say.
I'm so pleased.
Thank you for that. I'm going to keep the packaging because it's so. I didn't really want to open it because it looked so amazing. And then you come in and the colours kind of really get you with the book, don't they? Because there's a lot of black, but then the bright colours as well. And that's the really important things, isn't it? When it comes to picking books off shelves, isn't it?
We wanted it to be really inspirational. We wanted it to activate imaginations, and we right at the start wanted the book to be really vivid, especially on the illustration. We made the decision really early on to have it fully illustrated with big, massive illustrations.
Exactly.
Which was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'm sure. And Foz, what do you think your granny would have made of this then?
She's probably looking down now saying, you should have been a lot tougher.
Yeah, it made it scary.
Yeah, scary as I was. But I'm sure she's really happy, but she would definitely have made it more scary.
And is this the first time you've written anything?
Yes.
It's amazing.
So I now get lessons from a retired school headmistress from Gurmo, lives in Brassans, and she's helping me with this journey that we're on, and it's fascinating. And she's 86 years old, and
you don't like telling them that.
She's actually like dealing with a school teacher. She raps my knuckles sometimes and says, "No, you've got to do this. You've got to do this," and it's a learning curve. But I am so glad to be doing it. It's an amazing thing.
And it really is. If you get past the fact of this character, it's a lovely story just about a brother and a sister excited about going out for the day, so they can't sleep, and just those things about parent takes it in turn. I can really, you probably can remember as well. I can really relate to it. You take it in turns going up the stairs, going go to sleep, and then there's more noise and everything, and then you shout up the stairs, there's those kind of things that you really relate to as a parent as well.
Yes, and also it also talks about the house going to sleep. There's a creak. Houses do go to sleep.
And pipes make noise, like the hot water pipes and all those kind of things.
So you can relate to all those things. So we brought real life things into it to make it so that people could relate to it. And hopefully when the house creaks and they've read the book, they'll go, Mr. FlannelFoot's here.
I'll just be taking mirrors down from everywhere as well.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have too many mirrors in our house. We're all right. So, the thing is, if anyone is listening and thinks that sounds like the kind of thing my children would love to read, where can they get hold of a copy?
So it's available on Amazon. So if you can simply go to Amazon and enter in the Epic Adventures of Mr. FlannelFoot. You can also Google that and it will take you to our website, and you can get redirected back to Amazon there. But it's popping up on Google now, and it's ranking really well as far as rankings go on Amazon. And we've just launched it in the United States. So
have you?
Yeah, on Barnes & Noble, which is the largest bookseller in their traditional bookshop. So it's just launched there. So we're hoping that Mr. FlannelFoot will be a worldwide thing.
Do they have flannels? Do they call them flannels in the States?
I used to live there, and they do call them flannels. They would be fascinating because it's an English story. But we'll see.
I'm just thinking merchandise. Flannels, FlannelFoot, flannels, socks. Yeah,
socks, FlannelFoot socks.
Yeah, exactly. Hats. Now you've got a hat.
Yeah.
Who did you make the hat?
I made it. Yeah.
Did you make it, Vic?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I found the basic black hat and then I flannel-footed it.
It suits him very well, doesn't it?
It does suit him, doesn't it?
And how have you managed to get all your work done in between doing this as well?
Oh, yeah, it's been a great fun. Like I say, when I was in lockdown, it was actually much easier because obviously I was at home, but then my children was at home, so that wasn't easier. But then it's just been trying to juggle it. We've built me a hilarious little tiny office in my house that's actually in the old lobby. So it's a tiny little office, but I fit in there. And I sit in the car park, and when I'm waiting to go to work, and I draw there, and I draw on my lunch break, and I draw wherever I'm sitting, anywhere, you'll find me drawing in costas up and down.
It sounds like you really enjoy it, though.
I really enjoy it, but it is hard to get it all fitted in, but we've managed.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and it's been 3-4 years to get to where we are now, and it's an amazing thing to be sat here actually talking to you about it. It's you kind of pinch yourself.
Oh no, it's wonderful to meet you both. Yeah. And will you come and talk about the next book when it comes out?
We'd love to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's called Mr. FlannelFoot, Smelly Feet. Just do a search online, and you've got a website as well, haven't you? MrFlannelFoot.co.uk.
Yep. That's
Never
it.
has the humble flannel, had so much publicity, has it? Will there be sales? Will there be a peak in sales of flannels?
Flannel firms are going to love us, aren't they?
I do. There's something very wholesome about a flannel, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
No,
it's kind of old-fashioned.
It is. I like it. Well, thank you both for coming in. We wish you the best of luck with this and with all the other books that are coming out as well. And thanks for bringing your own Mr. FlannelFoot in this evening.
Yeah, and he's very happy to be here too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll sleep all right tonight because I'm easily spooked. But lovely to meet you both.
Thank you, and you.
Thank you. That is Foz Foster and Vic Gandy, who are the writer and illustrator of this new children's book, Mr. FlannelFoot, Smelly Feet. All the details from the website, mrflannelfoot.co.uk.